Well, after a pretty successful trip up into the center of Mozambique, Grant and myself come back to South Africa, and we've arrived here in Sodwana Bay. This time of year, very bad for weather. Change of the seasons, the land's starting to get a lot warmer, so you start getting a huge wind difference between the low pressures and the high pressures. While we're here, we're looking for the bottlenose dolphins. They're apparently two separate pods that work up and down this coast, each pod working between 40 and 50 kilometers. Hopefully we got to find these animals and spend quite a bit of time with them. We are on our way to 7 Mile when we came across this nice bump that we picked up on the fish finder. A reef that on the bottom of the sand lies at about 18 meters, and as you can see, a really nice ledge that juts up to about 12 meters, so a nice wall on the inside edge. At one particular spot I found a really nice big octopus. He didn't stick around for too long. Coming out of the cave systems, I found that on top there was also some really nice topography, and with this topography lots of fish as well. Blue-banded snappers, flame goatfish, all the reef dwelling fish that one normally finds in this Sodwana Bay area. There's quite a lot of surge pushing the fish to and fro, making conditions for me pretty difficult down there. On the way back, we did manage to come across a small pod of the bottlenose dolphins. They weren't traveling all together nicely packed in a small group. They were pretty much all over the place and in a real playful mood. These guys were right in the waves, and with the winds that have prevailed over the last couple of days, there was a fair amount of swell, so we didn't venture too far into the surf zone. Once they had disappeared, we came across another unusual animal that we found just behind the backline, in fact, and this was one of the manta rays. This particular animal was not the giant pelagic manta ray that we filmed up in the Nyambane province in Mozambique, but this is the reef manta. It has no trailing edge below its wings, and this is one of the telltale signs between the two different species. Once this guy disappeared off into the blue, the giant of the plankton feeders arrived, one of the big whale sharks. This animal was also swimming from the north up to the south, and a really nice specimen, between 5 and 6.5 meters in length. Again, another one of those animals that look like it's just gently moving up the coast, but for us, you really have to put in a big effort to keep up with these animals. These are the schooling coachmen that you'll always find on the current side of the reef. Because of the strong winds that we get at this time of year, there's always a bit of a swell running, and with this swell you get quite a lot of surge. What happens now and again, if there is quite a lot of surge, you often find these big flatfish hiding under little ledges and under some caves. And today we came across a really nice big round ribbon-tail ray. This particular one had a really outsized hump on her back, and this could definitely lead to the assumption that she was pregnant. Very difficult to work in these conditions, the surge kicking up a lot of sand. With the surge and with a very potent barb on her tail, we decided to leave her alone and head further along the reef. We dropped below the ledge and into some interesting little caves and crevices where we found some really interesting fish. We found a lot of juveniles, mixing it up with a lot of the blotched eye soldier fish, which are the red fish further back in the cave. These juveniles also hide in these caves for obvious protection. Little crevices to shoot into whenever there's a predator nearby. It was in one of these caves that I came across another one of the rays that frequent these reefs, and this is the sharp-nosed brown stingray, quite often referred to just as the sharp-nosed stingray. And this poor individual was obviously a victim of some kind of fight, or a shark perhaps thought it was quite a nice piece of meat and left him with quite a stumpy tail. And you quite often find this with a lot of the rays on our coast. They often get chopped off. From there, both Grant and myself used the slight north-south current just to drift down the inside ledge. I did notice on one small section a lot of rubble outside a little cave, and it didn't take long for one of the common octopus to pop his head out. Quite a nice sized animal.